Greetings. Hope everyone is enjoying their day today. My name is Troy Lamel Stovall. I serve as the CEO of TEDCO. And, here in Maryland, we have a lot of resources that we use in order to drive economic impact and economic development. And we have a lot of partners in doing that. And one of the key partners is also, frankly, a friend of TEDCO and a friend of mine. TEDCO stands for the Technology Economic Development Corporation, or TEDCO. Where our good friend that we're on here today, their executive director, Tom Sadowski, runs Maryland Economic Development Corporation. We'll learn more about that, better known as MEDCO. We'll learn more about that a little bit later. So, Tom, thank you for being on TEDCO Talks, and more importantly, thank you for all you do for Maryland, the ecosystem.
Hey, my friend, always a pleasure talking to you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Now, I told you, we obviously want to learn about MEDCO. We want to learn about you. But I also like to have a little fun with you. So I'm going to do a little transformation here, okay?
All right.
Because we know, one of the things we know you like sports and we know you like running, right? And so I'm actually in my running gear, right? And so what I'm about to do here, so we got a little background switch we're going to do on you. And we got a little thing about you. So I'm going to put on my running cap because we're going to run in today. So I got my running cap on. Got my running cap on here. And now, like you see here, we got a couple of things we're going to talk about here. But one of the things I'm probably going to make you mad. I know you're a big Orioles fan, right?
Yes.
Now, I grew up in Texas, right? So I have a gift for you. And it's black and orange, too, but you're probably not going to like it. So I got my Astros World Series cap that I just knew you would like. I'm going to send you one, bruh. But it's black and orange, so y'all can kind of pretend, it's black and orange and everything. But
I can work with that. Hey, look, we took some of the best that the Astros had to offer, right? I mean, we got some of their management, helped to rebuild. All about collaboration. All about.
There you go. There you go. Now, I also know that you got, so the other thing in this picture here, sitting on the water are some cows or cattle. I understand you got like some cattle running around. Is that true?
It is true. It is true. I am a farmer by marriage, and my wife, we built a house on her family farm, and my kids are active in 4-H, and we have a bunch of beef cattle out there on the farm that we raise, and it's a good life. It's a good life. I've learned a lot. I've learned that it hurts if they step on your foot. So try not to.
So what is outside of stepping on your foot, what is a funny story that you learned about having to raise cattle?
That how much science is really involved in raising cattle. I mean, the genetics are extremely important. It's not just a happenstance, right? There's a lot of thought that goes into the whole breeding and showing process. So these farmers and breeders, they really break down the genetics in such a way where they can predict, ease of birthing, weight at birth, the demeanor and the personalities of the cows themselves.
Wait a minute, so cows have a personality. They got different personalities.
Very much, and my wife will tell you that often determines what their name ends up being. But there's a lot of science that goes into it, a lot of thought. And look, anytime you're nurturing a life like that, I mean, I think it's a great life experience, and our kids are certainly having a well-rounded.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, look, speaking of you, you have had a career that is about service, particularly service to the state of Maryland, and I appreciate that. So, and before we learn more about MEDCO, I guess I want to know, what is it about that service that's about Tom? Is that something that was instilled in you as a kid? Is it something that you just kind of grew into? What about this service mentality is made Tom have the career you've had?
Well, I think it goes back to, something you touched on earlier with my affinity for sports. And I was always big into team sports and how you contribute to a team, the role that you play, and the success that ultimately results as a result of a group effort. I'm also the oldest of 5 children and, big family. I have 5 kids myself. So you're always giving of yourself, whether you like it or not. But,
that's good.
family, sports, athletics, and just being a member of a community is these are important things. And when you see success or good things happen, it's as a result of a cumulative effect or a collaborative kind of an exercise. And that's why I talk, the importance of teamwork and partnering. You can't get it all done yourself, right?
Yep. No question. No question. No question. Well, that's great. But did you grow up in Maryland?
I did. Lifelong Marylander.
There we go. So, so MEDCO, for folks that may not know, tell us more about it, but, obviously TEDCO, we invest in opportunities both in our higher educational institution, their labs, as well as our entrepreneurs and innovators. But they have to have a place to do that in. They have to have a physical facility to do that great work, and like for our students to sleep, and for our professors to do those experiments in. And that is the role of MEDCO in a real simple level. So Tom, why don't you let our audience really understand what MEDCO does for economic impact here for Maryland?
Will do. Thank you, Troy. Yeah, so MEDCO was created back in 1984. The state of Maryland legislature saw a need to have a special purpose development corporation. There was a large manufacturer out in Western Maryland that was closing down, the Fairchild Aviation.
Fairchild. Mm-hmm.
And they had a large hangar and facility and manufacturing operation out in Western Maryland, and they were shutting down. And the Annapolis felt, look, we need to have an entity that can acquire that asset, improve it, and make it available for the next manufacturer, help attract the next big employer in Western Maryland. And from there, the rest is history, right? We got involved in that project, and we soon were starting to help make improvements down at the Port of Baltimore to help accommodate the shipbuilding and refurbishment activities here in the city. And since then, we've done any number of projects where we help to build and finance Southwest's new terminal at BWI. We are, at the end of this fiscal year, we'll have over 10,000 beds, student housing facilities across the state of Maryland. We help with any number of infrastructure-related projects: roads, water, sewer, fiber, rail. It's dock and dry dock and energy type projects. But most of all, we're kind of a partner for state agencies, for local governments and municipalities to help better achieve those improvements and economic development objectives that they have in their communities. But from a place perspective, as you had mentioned, I always like to say it's people, programs, and place.
There you go.
We got the people. We work on the programs that provide the resources, whether it's capital or mentorship, but then ultimately, that needs to be housed somewhere, and those places need services. And so MEDCO specializes in that last quadrant where, we talk about the project and the conception of that project, and we're really focused on how do we finance and deliver on the physical environment that's needed to house those activities, whether it's an industrial building, whether it's a new laboratory facility, whether it's a new the dock facility for a port-related function. All those things encompass the work that MEDCO's done over the years. I think last year alone, we issued more than $750 million in bond financing.
Wow. Wow.
Currently, we have $2 billion outstanding on our various projects. So pretty vast portfolio that MEDCO maintains.
Tom, so for particular folks that don't live, because we have folks that are listening to this that aren't in Maryland, give some folks an idea of some specific buildings or facilities that you guys have financed and helped build here.
Maryland's Department of Mental Hygiene lab there in East Baltimore. We helped build that, and we still manage that. Some spec buildings out in Western Maryland that we helped make possible. We helped build the new National Park Service headquarters out in Western Maryland as well, out by the C&O Canal.
Outstanding.
We've helped to develop garage facilities. We're actually building the new garage in downtown Annapolis, helping to solve a lot of water quality and stormwater management problems that they've been having over the years. We demolished the old Hillman garage. We're building a brand new one in its place, and the capital structure of that whole transactions allowed us to invest in the refurbishment of the city dock there in Annapolis to make it a great recreational amenity there. So I mentioned the Southwest terminal at BWI, but we've worked hand in hand with Morgan State University in helping to transform that campus. And the brilliant vision that President David Wilson has had for his campus, MEDCO's been right next to him the whole way, and helping to develop the new housing and student service facilities that they're bringing online there. And I think it's contributing tremendously to that institution being one of the hottest HBCUs in the country right now.
No question, no question. And so you know that you really are the soup to nuts. You're not just preparing the financing.
Right.
You're part of the planning, the strategy, and execution, and like you said, even in some cases, the supporting and managing this facility. Is that correct?
Correct. We like to say that we're your partner from concept to closing. So.
Gotcha. And so people might be wondering, what's the connective tissue between us? There's a lot between one side, we're just friends, but there's a lot of connective tissue here. So we'll spend a minute on that. But one of the things that we've launched here in Maryland is an effort called Cultivate. It's born out of a thing called Equitech that Tom has been very supportive of. And so Tom, and what that is about is how do we make sure that Maryland is positioned in a competitive way around technology and life science-based economic development, make sure that we're doing the right things, have the right people, places to make that happen. So Tom, again, thank you for the support of that. No question. Thank you for support of TEDCO and Cultivate.
Yep.
But talk a little bit about how that and the role of MEDCO in making sure that we maintain our competitive posture in Maryland, and why MEDCO feels it's important to support that.
It's vital, right? I mean, we did our first strategic plan in our 35-year history in 2022, and a lot of it pointed to much of what you just described. I mean, we have these tremendous knowledge and innovation-based assets, and they need to be leveraged, and leveraged in a way where it's creating opportunities for everyone, right? I mean, a lot of these institutions of higher education or federal laboratories or research activities are located in communities that are in urban areas or underserved areas throughout the state. And the more that we're bringing in industry to collaborate with our research institutions, the more job creation can be facilitated in those communities, and new job creation and new investment opportunities can be fostered, right? So that creates small business opportunity. That creates the opportunities for new service entities. So, but I think, one of Maryland's strengths has been its knowledge-based economy. And I think that it's all been so government-focused, and that's not a bad thing, but it's certainly an opportunity that I think we're just getting ready to seize. And I think a lot of the things that we've talked about is that requires partnership. Government, industry, and education all working together. So we're trying to work with you in this part of this Equitech effort, the Cultivate effort, to be the glue, to bring together the stakeholders, so that not only are we doing this tremendous amount of research on behalf of government labs or the military installations throughout the state, but we're bringing in industry in such a way where the technology can be commercialized much more quickly. And it leads to manufacturing opportunities and value-added economic development, if you will. So, that can't all be done in Annapolis. I mean, our legislators, our government leaders, they got a big enough job as it is. So the more we can bring the private sector in to be part of the solution and work together, I think all the better. I think we can make for a more efficient and a more effective and a more equitable economic outcome. I think it's...
And the word I'll add to that is sustainable, right? Because if we have that partnership with the private sector, you're right. I mean, the government shouldn't be picking what should be done. We let the markets pick what it should be done, and let those folks who do it day to day pick what are the sectors we should be investing in.
Right. I mean, we have just tremendous assets in the biotechnology and the life sciences realm, the computer information technology, cyber realm. I mean, we are the capital of quantum computing in this country, and we're working in a strategic way to help leverage those early and emerging opportunities in that marketplace. But, again, these are the kinds of things that the people and the programs, I think are really robust, but it's those places, where do we create those opportunities to house the companies, to create the jobs, invest in those communities, improve transportation infrastructure so that people can get access to these job opportunities. I think all those are important parts of, the overall discussion.
So you've already mentioned a couple of times how you've been investing in. You use the word underserved. We would use underinvested, but the same type of thing. Communities and communities. And so I'd like you to talk a little bit about the intentionality of that. How MEDCO. You talked about your strategic plan. How much of that is part of the strategy? How intentional you're being in terms of making sure that there is equitable in these investments into these communities that have not had these types of investments historically.
Right. Well, look, I mean, it's just the right thing to do, and it's the smart thing to do at the end of the day. I as you know, and I talk about, I'll give them a plug real quickly. Junior Achievement. I've chaired their board for the last 5 years.
Absolutely.
Just in Central Maryland alone, they service over 40,000 youth on any given year. But they're teaching them life skills, financial literacy, entrepreneurship, career readiness. That's making sure our kids have hope and they have confidence in themselves.
Like that.
They can build their future, right? You look in some of these underserved communities, we have people that need hope. They need opportunity, need access, and they need the tools necessary to build their future. They need the keys to unlock those opportunities. So I think that investing in those areas, one, we already have the infrastructure. In a lot of ways, we already have some key innovation assets, whether they're hospitals, whether they're research laboratories or higher ed institutions, community college. They already exist in these communities. So why not build these places around those assets and offer these opportunities to the people right there in the communities where they reside? And I look at the kids today, and they ask the question, well, what are my options? And I think we need to help them fill in that blank, right? Well, these are your options, and we're going to help you get there. And this is how you get there, and do it yourself, and make a good life for yourself and your family.
Look, I've already given you a compliment, but again, I know your leadership and the work that you do with Junior Achievement, it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you for that, and I appreciate that. And on top of the work you do, your day job with MEDCO, but keep on that, Tom, if you don't mind, just for one more time. Not just showing them that it's there, but also the economics. I mean, like you said, you've got millions of dollars outstanding, and how does that flow to creating opportunities for those who can participate in this kind of stuff, and talk about, so people can understand how they can participate in this stuff, not just from the facilities that show up in my communities, but how do I actually become working with you from an architect or a builder or whatever it is to be part of that, those making those communities happen.
Well, you do things where you invite industry in to be a partner with the higher ed institutions, and then you bring in students, you bring in people from the community, and you say, these are the jobs that are being created. Let's help you gain the skills necessary to access those employment opportunities. You make capital available, right? So that, hey, you got this great idea. Well, here, we're going to stand here and help seed that ideation, that early concept development, and support you along the way, not only with the capital, but maybe even with the mentorship necessary to grow that business idea and scale it up. And, we talk about this a lot. 80% of startups, they remain in those communities where they get that first of assistance. Right?
Exactly.
So going to these communities, and we're investing in these community-based entrepreneurs, they're going to stay, and they're going to create jobs and grow their companies there, and support the institutions that are driving a lot of our economic activity. Help them not only be sustainable, but create a pipeline where the services and the vendors that they need long term, we're creating them organically within the communities that surround those facilities.
Man, so I love the way you're thinking. So I know, you right before you came to this, you were here in Maryland. We call it the University System of Maryland. It's the body that manages our most of our public institutions, and you serve as their economic development. So talk to me about how that experience has influenced you and what you're doing now at MEDCO.
Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, I was vice chancellor of University System of Maryland for 5 years, in charge of economic development. And one of the things that the Board of Regents wanted to deliver on was launching a new fund, so that, again, those ideas that were being cultivated in our institutions would remain in Maryland, and hopefully those businesses would scale up and be successful in Maryland. And they gave us an initial $10 million to work with. And they're like, okay, go build a fund. And it's like, okay, 10 million. 10 million is a lot of money. But, when you start looking at the variety of need, it's like, wow, how do we make the best use out of all this? And, Troy, what I learned was that there are a lot of people that are interested in nurturing the growth of an entrepreneur and a good idea, right? So you put the word out, you start to, tap into your networks. And over that 5-year period of time, that $10 million, for every $1 that the system invested, we were able to leverage another 5 or 6
exactly.
other investors, whether government source of funds, private source of funds, some sort of a charitable source of funds. So, you just put out that intention to do the right thing, to be bold, and you put resources behind it. And I think others see that, and I think it sparks the kind of interest and partnership that you need to really get the job done. I think you're doing a great job of that. I tell you that every day. You're out there, you're banging the drum, you're saying, this is the opportunity. Let's all get together on this, that coalition of the willing, you keep saying. I'm one, and I think there are many others that I think are, have signed on, and I think many to come.
Thank you for that. And the fund you're talking about is Momentum Fund, the Maryland Momentum Fund. So folks may not know. And we partner with the Momentum Fund on a number of our investments with Momentum Fund. And I'm sure, there'll be a link you can find out about, but if you go Google the Momentum Fund, it is a great fund, and we partner with them. Those great innovations that come out of the system. It's not just people sometimes focus on the research institutions in the system, but outside of those research institutions, there's just great innovation and great entrepreneurship happening outside of them as well.
Well, you know what it points to, and it's something that I think you're really doing a great job of, helping to change the culture, right? Getting out of our silos, right? Working together, recognizing where the real, what they call flywheel opportunities are, and getting together to help make it happen. Yeah, the Momentum Fund was a tremendous success. I think they had about 24 different portfolio companies by the time I left. And since the system has created an earlier stage resource.
Early stage, correct.
They can prime the pump and work better with you at TEDCO to address the variety of needs along that startup continuum process.
Well, man, again, I can't thank you enough. As we close here, I want to learn a little bit more about Tom. And I know you like really spicy food. Really. See? So how did you get this affinity of spicy food? And what's one spicy food that you really, really like to have?
I just, like, my daughter and I, my daughter's 7. I mean, we like any variety of hot sauce, right? I mean, I think it goes to, like, my overall ability is like, how can we make this a little bit better? How can we light this up a little bit? So
how hot do you go? I mean, do you go like 5-alarm burn, like long as those fire hot?
No, look, I mean, I like it. Sometimes it doesn't like me, right? So there's there's this in moderation kind of a thing. No, I like Texas Pete and the good old fashioned sriracha and Tabasco on just about everything. But I'm also mindful of, like, when my wife makes something, I don't go for the hot sauce because she thinks it's a, some sort of a knock on her cooking.
Not on her cooking, exactly. Yeah. So you said you put it on anything. So you put this hot sauce on anything.
Oh yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. I try not to leave, because of our affinity for beef and the beef industry.
Of course.
I try to leave a good piece of red meat unadulterated, right? I kind of try to appreciate it for its, unique form and flavor. So
what's your favorite cut? What's your favorite steak cut?
I mean, could I like the tomahawk, right?
Or a good, those things are amazing. Those things are amazing.
Yeah, or a good ribeye. Yeah, that with
Those
a little bit of
tomahawks.
asparagus, right? I mean, all good.
Oh my goodness, yeah, good tomahawk. Oh my goodness, yeah, yeah. I've introduced our son to the Japanese steak.
Oh,
Stop.
easy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's some good stuff. It's some good stuff. So
Well,
again, I can't thank you enough, my friend, and I mean that in all the sincerity for all you do for Maryland, for TEDCO, and for me. Appreciate your time today on TEDCO Talks. I really mean that. Thank you, sir.
well, hey, it's my pleasure. We're going to build some great stuff together, and always a part of that process. You got to celebrate success. So maybe we'll celebrate with a good steak dinner.
Now we talking, brother. Now we talking. To all of you again, continue. Thanks for watching, for your comments. Continue to send the links on. We really appreciate all the support. For those here in Maryland, thank you for support. Tom mentioned the Coalition of the Willing. Please take some time to visit our Cultivate Maryland page to learn more about what we're doing to really change this culture, as Tom talked about here in Maryland, about how we can work together. We talk about this notion of stitching. How do we do that in an intentional way to bring us to serve those who've not been served historically, but to also make Maryland more competitive. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for, as always, stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy, and blessed. Take care, and until next time. This is Troy LaMel Stovall, the CEO of TEDCO. Take care.
Thanks again.